really planned at all. I didn't know about Pulse Hot List. We're going to be talking about this. A lot of people in the community kind of have an issue with it. I think it's awesome, so we'll talk about that. The thing I want to lead with, though, is freepulse.io. There's individual videos on what this is, but I have a sacrifice pool, and so you guys can send to this address in the sacrifice pool, and the more money we get there, the higher multiplier we'll get. We might even combine my pool with the free carpet ride pool. As you see, free carpet has 200K. We don't even have 1K. So I might combine my pool with free carpet ride to get you guys the max volume. The address, if you want to participate in this sacrifice or dedication phase, pardon me. When it comes to non-Richard Heart sacrifice phases, first off, a sacrifice phase ain't a sacrifice phase unless it's Richard Heart. All right, he's got a track record. He's an OG in crypto. Got a lot of people out here running with his sacrifice phase. It ain't a sacrifice phase unless it's Richard Heart. Let's keep it that way. If you are going to gamble your money on something non-Richard Heart related, bottom of my heart, I think this is probably the best bet. It's not a sacrifice phase. It basically is, but at least they changed the name to dedication phase, right? And you can send money to the pool now, but the sacrifice phase for this will not start. Dedication phase, sorry. Will not start until Pulsechain actually comes out. So do your own research, but this is like the only non-Richard Heart project that I'm going to be throwing some money at because I believe in the founders. The website gives away free Pulse to everyone. What better way to onboard people than to give them free money? Nothing's free in this world, but you can actually claim some free crypto. Imagine if you could claim Ethereum when it launched at 20 cents. You could claim 2 cents of Ethereum a day. That 2 cents of Ethereum per day is now hundreds of dollars, or like $150. But yeah, check this out, guys. The link's in the video description below. And yeah, so Pulse Hot List, this came out. I'll let Victor talk about it because it's his website. But basically, it's a way to look at all the projects HEX Pulse related. And they basically came up with this thing called a PHL score. And this score, I'll let Victor talk about how it's, how they come to this score. But it basically gives people a view of like how legit is this project, or like not legit, but like how legit is the project. So like you have look into HEX, right? Gerardo's quantitative site. It's finished. It's a solid product. Richard Heart even likes it as a 100. Victor, do you want to chime in and kind of give us a lowdown on this? Why do people not like this? How are you guys coming up with these scores, and what's this all about?
Yeah, sure. So me and Felix, the co-founders of Freepulse, that's probably where most people know us from. We built this new project called Pulse List, as you already mentioned, and it's essentially a ranking site for every Pulse or HEX, PulseX related project. The main goal is just to make the space more transparent and open and more secure in the end. And that's why we built our own ranking system, because market cap ain't gonna do it. So we developed a formula that takes a lot of data about the project in and spits out a score between 0 and 100. And the score essentially isn't an investment rating or anything. So lower scores can definitely outperform higher scores, but rather it's a rating on how secure invested money with that project is. Those scores aren't static. They're meant to develop over time. For example, if a project owner, say KYCs or an audit is released or stuff like that, that score is going to improve. And also the underlying formula is meant to improve over time. So as we gather more and more data, everything is meant to become more accurate and more transparent and more open. And it's never just a number. It's always a couple of sentences next to that number that tell the project owners and the community how that project can improve. So we never just say that the project is like bad. We always say why it's not secure or not transparent or whatever, and how it can improve and get a higher score. So every project is essentially motivated to become just more secure for the investors, for the community. And we just hope that the whole space will become better through this project.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great idea. What's the pushback? What you were telling me briefly, I just learned about this. A lot of people aren't too happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ranking site, so there will always be projects that are in the bottom half and their community isn't going to be happy. If there's actually like wrong data or something that's actually incorrect and can be proven that we got it wrong, please tell us. We want to know. We don't want to publish any false information. We want to be as transparent and as correct as possible. There are like 3 different forms to update the data. If you see something wrong, please use pulsehotlist.com/update. Short form, you can fill it out and we'll update the data as soon as possible. And of course, it's important to us that we are ranking all of these projects in an unbiased and objective manner. So the criteria for all of the projects are the same. The formula is the same. There are clear criteria to apply to the site to get your own project listed. Those criteria are pretty flat, so you pretty much only have to have some kind of website, even a link tree or Twitter account works. You aren't allowed to promote like violence, drugs, or scams. And of course, your project has to be somehow related to HEX or Pulse or PulseX. And then you're pretty much good to go and good to get listed. And there has been just a lot of controversy about stuff that initially didn't get listed because like the initial data set, of course, it can't be perfect. I would say in the last week, since Pulsechain has been launched, it's already become like 30 or 40% better just by improvements of the underlying data. Yeah, and let's just make this all more transparent, more correct, more safe.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, I fudded this project, Pulse Speak. Some of you guys on my stream might have seen when I fudded it. And it wasn't even FUD. I think I gave some good constructive criticism about this. The first Web 3.0 social platform. And this has a 79. So, I mean, I don't see how anyone could really have a problem with this website. I don't know what the chat thinks, but it seems like a great idea when you have so many projects, kind of project overload on Pulsechain right now. And a lot of people don't have the time to really do the due diligence. And I think this kind of just gets them up to speed, you know? And especially since you're giving them feedback on how to improve their score as well.
Yeah, and like a year ago when Pulse was new and just announced that there basically was just liquid loans as the only serious project, and okay, that's fine. But by now there are so many different projects and in many different categories, and a lot of them aren't that trustworthy. Some of them are really great. I think some of them are awesome investments and very transparent and audited and open and all of that stuff. But yeah, there's just a lot of data to take in, and I think Pulsechain is important because, especially as a new user to the space, you don't know anything. You don't know any projects you can invest in. You don't know that there's even anything at all built on Pulsechain. So we need like some kind of index or site to get new people in and show them what's up and what even happens on Pulsechain.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great website. I'd love to talk to someone it'd be nice to have someone who's on the other side who doesn't agree with this. Like even your own Pulse 33 meme coin, you gave it a 60. You should give it a 69 just because it's a meme coin. Bump that up one.
Yeah, I mean, generally meme coins aren't ranked that high because they don't have any underlying use case. Of course, there are meme coins who perform really, really well, like Shiba Inu or even Dogecoin, stuff like that. But most of them just fail and go to zero because there isn't any use case or fundamentals or demand for them. So most of them just go to zero. It's a highly volatile and highly risky asset class. So I personally wouldn't advise anybody to invest any money into some meme coin or whatever. Invest in stuff that's actually useful and that has fundamentals and that's built well. For example, HEX. But yeah, so of course our own projects like Pulse 33 and Freepulse are also listed on the site, but they use the exact same formula and the exact same data like all the other projects. So I think the ranking system itself is as attractive and transparent as it can be.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with everything you're saying.
That's good. You're kind of alone with that. There was just so much controversy about the whole site, like the initial data set. Of course, there were like some projects missing and some conflicting information. For example, if a website of a project says something different than like the Medium blog or their Twitter, we don't know what's like the single source of truth. We can't get everything right on the initial data set. So it's meant to improve over time. And I think like most of the controversy is already over.
Yeah, I'd be curious, like, who was being critical of it, like, if any big community members were. But I'm not gonna make you name drop or anything.
No, but like a lot of big community and well-known community members also really like the site. Like, of course, you, but also Crypto Coffee and some other like big YouTubers and well-known OG hexicans actually really liked the site and thought it was a great idea. So that's great. And like,
Yeah, I don't
as
know
I
how
said,
you
it's
couldn't like the site. Sorry, I cut you off.
no problem. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I like the site, like I've said 5 times.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks. Appreciate it.
so then there's also a token. There's going to be a PHL token, and the sacrifice phase for this is already open actually. Um,
Yeah, that's
uh,
some interesting stuff.
you can do a
Yeah,
referral link as well if you guys want to do that. But honestly, I haven't read a lot about the tokenomics, or I haven't read any of this stuff yet. I just learned about this when I was talking to Victor. But when it comes to betting, like I was saying earlier with Free Pulse, like I really am bullish on these founders. So this is something that I'm going to take a look at. Since I haven't done my research and some other people haven't even heard of it yet, can you kind of talk about like the tokenomics, like why a token? What's a PHL going to do?
yeah, sure. So first of all, like you should never invest into anything that you don't know anything
Period.
about. You can go to pulseoutlist.com/sec and read all of that stuff that I'm going to tell you, and do your own research. But essentially, it's an interesting token. I'd say it's far more risk and far more reward than Freepulse. And like we didn't want to have any listing fee. We didn't want to have any banner ads, advertising margin trading or discussing stuff like that. So we essentially thought of a different business model for the token if you want. And that's for project owners. They can burn some PHL, not like pay us or anything, but really burn those tokens and remove them from existence. And once they burned a specific amount, they can edit their project pages, not from a data standpoint. They can update all of the data of their own projects for free at any time, if there's like updates or stuff. But if they want to like visually improve them, maybe change the colors to their branding colors, remove the menu bar at the top, remove the related project section, and also add stuff like, say, a PulseX integration, so users can directly swap their PLS or PRC20s into their token on that project page, or maybe a Simplex integration, so a credit card on-ramp, so they don't have to worry about fiat on-ramps, which are expensive and hard to build. They can just add that with a button click to their own project page, just by burning some PHL. And this is just far more efficient and cheaper way to build the stuff, because those blocks only have to be developed once by us, and then we can share those development costs across all of the Pulse projects. So yeah, they essentially can just burn some PHL, and if this finds like some traction in the space and people like those opportunities to make their project pages look better, they could use it as their primary website, for example, so they don't have to build a website themselves, which is hard to do or expensive. For example, if you are a project owner, you have to hire a web dev to make a good website for yourself. That's expensive. That's hard to find a good dev. So you could just burn some PHL and use the Pulse list page as your website. And that's just a whole lot cheaper. And it probably got some greater features than you could implement on your own website. It's easy to do. It's cheap. And like the goal is pretty much to become the go-to website builder, essentially, for project owners, to become the go-to PulseX front end and the go-to fiat credit card on-ramp for all of the projects that are somehow Hex or Pulse related.
Nice, nice. There was a comment in the chat. Um, Torin says, "Can you put all the junk projects that people like on other chains up for comparison, i.e., PLSD?"
Yeah, I think like PLSD is already on there. Pulse Doge, you can search for it.
Oh, it is.
And we also put like projects on there that purely run on Binance Smart Chain, like Pulse33 or Internet Money, stuff like that. And we're just planning to fork over to Pulsechain. So like the only criteria is pretty much that it has to be somehow related to HEX, Pulsechain or PulseX, and that's that. So like we're not going to list Bitcoin or Ethereum or stuff like that because it's not related, but like this site is meant to show the ecosystem on Pulsechain and yeah,
Yeah, and
just
you
be
guys have like
unbiased.
really comprehensive about sections for all the like a lot of these tokens I've never even heard of. So you guys had
And
to put in a lot in the videos, like it's really comprehensive. It's good stuff.
thanks. Like the interesting stuff is most of the websites in the space really suck. They're they they are awful. Like sometimes there isn't even like the logo of the project on there. Sometimes there's no text or no description. Uh, there's like no comprehensive structure or anything like that. They're not SEO optimized. So if you're a project owner, if you don't want to worry about all of this website related stuff, get some PHL, burn them, and make your own PHL page better. Use it as your primary website, whatever. And yeah, like it's hard to say if this actually will pay off, if project owners are actually going to want to do this. But I think it's for most projects, it's just a rational choice because it's cheaper, more efficient, and gets a better result. So why not? Why wouldn't this become the default go-to website builder for all of the Pulsechain projects? And like, of course, this
Oh,
would be
so I
customized
missed
for
that a
people.
bit. I know you said you can use the PHL token to like to basically change parts of your like listing on the site. Wait, you're just talking about helping people build websites now?
Yeah, so this is only visually. So imagine you're a project owner, right? You have a Pulsechain related project. You can list that for free on Pulsehot list, as long as you're somewhat related to Pulsechain or HEX. And of course, as a project owner, you will also need a website, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's expensive or hard to do. You need to find a web dev, you need to hire a web dev, you can try yourself, but it's probably not going to result in a good website. So why not just use your Pulsehot list page as your primary website? So you just get some PHL, burn them, and then you can customize it, like custom colors, custom domain, and add like specific blocks on there, like as I said, Pulsex or Simplex integration. Um, and then it's like probably better looking than 99% of all of the other website in the ecosystem. And you don't have to worry about anything. It's cheap, it's efficient. So it has the potential to become like the go-to website builder. And this is the core utility of PHL of the token. Of course, like the old site is free for users and it's always going to stay free. There's no listing fee. There aren't any ads. So I think this is like the best way to build the token and to give the token as much fundamentals as possible.
So I'm starting a project called Hex Ballers. It's a two
Yeah.
on two basketball type arcade, play to earn, BS, whatever. I don't have a
Agree.
website. I come to Pulse Hot List. What am I doing?
You're going to click the list button on the top right and you're going to fill out the submit form or just go directly to pulsehotlist.com/submit. That probably takes like 2 minutes. Then you're going to wait. We're probably going to get back to you within 24 hours and get you your cool new listing on Pulsehot list. And then you already have a page there that you can link to, that you can share around with your logo and description and all of that stuff like video, emoji meter, widgets, and a PHL score. So you could already use that as your primary website, but of course, this is still in the whole Pulsehot list branding and on the pulsehotlist.com domain. So if you actually want to use that as your primary website and come across as more serious or more professional or whatever, maybe have some funds to invest, then you could just buy some PHL, burn them, and make the page pretty much your own from a visual standpoint, right? So the actual data on the page, you can always update that for free, no problem. But if you want to make it look better or maybe allow your users who discover your cool new token on Pulsehot list to directly swap their PHL or PLS or any other PRC20 into your cool new token, just as an easier on-ramp, you will need some PHL to burn them.
Okay, so I'm thinking just from a website perspective, like if I see a project and they don't have a website, that's a little bit of a red flag. But at least just for getting started and not having to really do anything besides apply, which is pretty easy. This is great. And then you're saying I could actually, is this, you have to sacrifice, or sorry, not sacrifice, you have to burn PHL, the token, to get a feature like built-in swaps on my individual page. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So let me give you an example, right? If you're able to find a good web dev and pay him to build your project website, that's probably going to cost in the realm of 10, 20, 50,000 USD. But like those custom blocks from Pulsechain, like the PulseX integration for swapping coins around, those only have to be developed once, and those costs can be spread across all of the projects on there. So you might only have to buy like, I don't know, 100, 500 USD worth of PHL, whatever, burn them, and then you can customize your page and get all of that cool stuff on there. Use that as your primary website, and you don't have to worry about finding web dev. You don't have to worry about building all of that stuff. You don't have to mess around with Simplex for credit card on-ramp. You don't have to worry about SEO and all of that stuff, right? It's just easier, it's cheaper, it's more efficient. And this applies to all of the projects on Pulse. So we have dozens of projects listed on there who might want to buy and burn PHL on mainnet. And like that's the only way to get your hands on PHL, either that or sacrifice for it. But if you want to wait for a minute and buy it on PulseX, who knows, maybe it will have a far worse rate than you're currently getting by sacrificing. Because like we don't know when mainnet will come out. Maybe it'll take a month, maybe it'll take half a year or another 2 years, nobody knows. And by then the user base of Pulsechain is probably going to be a lot bigger. And I guess there might be more demand for the token. So who knows? Of course, like no expectations, all of that legal stuff. Felix would hit me if I wouldn't say it. But sacrificing doesn't guarantee you get PHL. It's a political statement for the freedom to invest. And yeah, no expectations, no profits. Do your own research, no financial advice, all of that stuff.
So wait, on the website it says for the referral your Pulse address. Is that that's just that's an OX, right? A 0x?
Exactly. You can also use the login with MetaMask button, and then you will get all of that filled out.
Mm-hmm. Gotta do mine really quick.
Yeah, it's just
All right, cool. So if people don't use this as like their primary website, because I still think people like this is a great resource, but people are still gonna want, if you're a legitimate project, like you would want a website, no?
I don't know. I mean, it's for cheaper, so maybe this is an awesome thing for projects who don't have that much funding, who don't have millions of dollars to spend as a budget. Maybe it's just cheaper. Maybe you'll use it as your first website and build a custom one later, if you have the resources to do that. But like I think for a lot of projects, that's actually a great alternative to like building a website your own or paying a lot of money for one.
So wait, you were saying a website can cost like just a basic front end for a good web dev is up to 50K?
No, it can be more expensive than that. It
Just a
depends on
simple.
like it depends on like what you're building as a website. But as a web dev myself, I can tell you that a good website from a good dev with maybe a lot of content or some special features like a credit card on-ramp integration, stuff like that, that's expensive to develop. And like most projects don't have the funding to do that. And as I said, if we are able to build those blocks once and share the development costs across hundreds of projects, it's going to become a lot cheaper. And it's basically, yeah, it's a no-brainer for project owners.
Someone, Gracie Little, says PulsePot is upset about the site, but they are a competitor. You heard about this?
Yep, there was also some controversy because they weren't in like the initial data set of Fetch websites. But we talked to the project owner, Jacob, and we resolved all of that, and everybody's happy now. They're listed, you can search for them.
Yeah, I see them right here.
There's also like an alert, like both Twitter accounts of Pulsechain and like Freepulse and Pulsepot tweeted about this and cleared everything up, and I think everybody's happy now.
Yeah, PulsePot, I wouldn't even really say is a competitor to you. It's just and PulsePot, no offense, but all play to earn games go to zero. I hope this is the play to earn game that doesn't go to zero. But guys, I'm deep in the NFTs and play to earn games. They all go to zero. Every token always goes to zero. So I'm interested to see if this could potentially be different, but the whole play to earn games, but then the game isn't actually fun, so you're just not even playing it. It's basically work. Not the best idea, but hey, hopefully they do well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that because then everybody is gonna scream again. But just know that, like, me and
You'd
Jacob,
be a
we
good
own that.
politician, Victor. I mean, you can call bullshit when it's bullshit. We can agree every play to earn game, the token goes to 0. Nothing against PulseSpot. You just kind of chose a bad niche. But yeah, shout out to PulseSpot.
We'll see.
Any questions about this, guys? Found it and joined the Telegram group. Nice leak code dash. So say people don't, besides like the burning PHL to customize your site, that's pretty much, that's the tokenomics. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the core fundamental, but there is more utility for it. For example, you could burn PHL to get reviewed in the newsletter. So top of the site button newsletter, you can already sign up for that. Probably gonna be a monthly edition. And we're just gonna review new investment opportunities in there. And projects can burn PHL to get reviewed in there, of course, honestly. So if they burn PHL, they're not just gonna get like a shout out and we're gonna tell everybody how cool they are. So if like a scam wants to burn PHL to get in the newsletter, we're just gonna send everybody an email that this and this project is a scam because of this and that. They burn PHL, PHL price goes up, they lose money, everybody knows it's a scam, and it's a win-win for everybody. So like the main value of PHL just is the user base of Pulsechain, right? Those coin making sites are worth a lot because of their user base. CoinMarketCap sold for 400 million to Binance, which is a lot of money. And like at the point in time where they sold, it was mostly just a table. And they had all of those fancy stuff they have on the website right now. But yeah, those sites are worth a lot of money because of the big user base. And like Pulsechain is basically part of the same network like Freepulse and PRC20s.com and Pulse33. And we have more than 200,000 users, which is insane stats.
Wow.
So
Last
we
time
already
I was
start.
covering it, you were at like 103,000. So
Yep.
you've already doubled.
Yep. And we're pretty transparent about that. Like, I don't see any other project or company or whatever sharing their Google Analytics stats. I never seen that with anybody.
Because they're
I think
nowhere
we,
near yours.
yeah, but like generally, just the transparency. Like, tell me another project who shows their Google Analytics stats, please. I've never seen that.
They don't, because they'd be embarrassing. It'd be bearish, not bullish.
Yep. And like those stats, 200,000 users for a 6-month-old beta on testnet, that's insane. Like, we haven't even started
Yeah,
giving
that's
away
crazy.
free PLS yet, and already onboarded 200,000 users into the ecosystem. Like, imagine on mainnet when we actually start giving away our money, how many millions of users we could onboard. And that's where the value lies.
Yeah, like if people can't see the value in that, 200,000 users claiming worthless money, what happens once that's real money? Like
Yeah,
that's,
gonna
yeah.
be the same.
That's why this is the
Like,
best project.
I
Period.
can't wait for mainnet. Like, that's just gonna be insane. It's gonna be madness just with free pulse alone. And like Pulsar list benefits off of that, right? It's, as I said, it's part of the same network, and it's just able to start with a large user base from the beginning. It doesn't have to work and crunch through the first couple of thousands of users. So probably right now it's already valuable because there's already a user base, and we already have people sign up to the newsletter and stuff like that. So yeah, who knows what this will be worth on mainnet.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll be worth, but I know people will be using it like crazy. So I'm excited to gamble. I love gambling, right? So I'm excited to claim my free pulse, and I don't even have to put money on. I can gamble what I got for free, you know?
Yeah. And we have something for everybody, right? If you want to gamble, use Freepulse. Freepulse is also a chat and referral program and Faucet. So if you want free money, go there. If you want a meme coin, use Pulse33. If you want to know about new investment opportunities, use Pulse Hotlist. If you want to check your PRC balances, you can go to PRC20s.com. If you like NFTs, we already got something for that in the pipeline for mainnet. It's also going to be pretty cool. So we're just building on the space and building like all of these projects to make the space greater, and yeah, that's fun.
Someone asked, can Victor give me advice? If you guys want to call in and ask Victor a question, this is an esteemed community member. He made the logos for Pulsechain and PulseX, Freepulse.io, P33. These guys are building a ton of stuff, and they're kind of, you have a lot of other community members making shit. These guys are in a league of their own, so if you guys want to take this opportunity, call and ask Victor a question. He may not be able to answer it, but I'm sure he'll try. Can Victor give me advice where to get the PLS, PLSX logos as an SVG? On
Yes.
Go ahead.
So for Pulsechain, you go to pulsechain.com, scroll down, and there's the link Get Branding Resources. That's a zip file, and everything's in there, including the logo. For PulseX, you go to pulsex.com/brand, and there are download links.
Yeah, so on the official website for Pulsechain and PulseX, if you guys do want the logos, that's where you'll get them.
Yeah. And by the way, like you just talked like basically about my resume. I sent you my website because the domain sucks. It's vbohu.com.
In Discord?
Yep. And
Do you want me to link that?
You can, or like you can check it out sometimes if you want. Like that's basically my CV, where I brag about all of the cool stuff that I built.
Yeah, so if you guys want to see who I'm talking to, check him out right here. Wait, so are you you know Solidity?
Yeah, but only the basics.
So like what language do you primarily use?
Like I primarily do web dev stuff, so mainly JavaScript, like front-end stuff in React mostly, Next.js, and backend stuff in Node.
And if you don't want to answer this, it's fine, but did you in university study this, or you kind of just like self-taught?
No, I'm self-taught.
And before Hex and Pulsechain, did you do this for like a corporation, or is this kind of just all from crypto?
Yeah, like I mostly did some freelance stuff, like not for a single corporation, but like multiple. Yeah, just guys who need websites, companies who need websites, stuff like that. And then like April 2021, so close to 1.5 years ago, I like publicly joined the Pulse and Hex space when Pulsechain was announced. Like I've been there before. I'm a day one Hexagon, so I already did pretty well financially, and I just have like time to pretty much put my whole energy into the space and do this full time and work 12-hour days, just to make the space greater. And yeah, that's fun. That's what I'm doing.
I mean, you're in the right space, because if you're working that much, there's obviously some kind of passion behind it, you know?
Yeah. Like,
Or
of
you're
course,
just
I'm not
insane.
pumping my own backs, right? I sacrifice big for Pulsechain and PulseX, but like that's not everything. Like I have enough money to pretty much never work again, but I do this for fun. It keeps me challenges, and it keeps me entertained. And I think it's a good thing to do. Like it's probably the most efficient thing I could do with my time, just making the whole Pulse and Hex space better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if all the founders in the community acted that way, I think we'd have a lot better stuff.
I mean,
Sure.
there are some really great founders and also in the Pulsechain space. Some guys really build great stuff. For example, I think Liquid Loans, so the liquidity fork for Pulsechain. I think that's great. That's really needed. And like also like many informational sites related to hacks. So of course you can go to Pulsar list and check them out, but just to name a few, maybe Hex Whalebot and look into hacks. And for example, like even the documentary, the Ice of Stakes, all of those are awesome projects, and they really push the whole space forward. And like they have great founders, they're trustable, awesome.
So speaking of liquid loans,
Yeah,
I think I caught Motley Investor saying this on a stream once. He was talking about like liquid loans as a fork of liquidity, and there's other things, other platforms like liquidity. And I'm looking at the price chart of liquidity, and it just doesn't go up. I think Motley was saying that like typically none of those projects have ever really been sustainable, and I don't know the in and outs of like the protocol, but I just found that interesting. Like it's kind of the opposite of Pulsechain, where you've had a lot of layer ones and they always do well pretty much, right? Whether it's AVAX, Solana, BSC, like as long as it's a legitimate team, they typically do well. With the liquidity for it, kind of seems like the opposite. Do you know more about that?
Yeah, like you have to know that all of those stablecoin protocols usually have like the stablecoin and they have the token that can move in price and that's meant to go up in price, usually accruing fees or stuff like that from the stablecoin. Like liquid loans has pretty much the same functionality of liquidity. We know that liquidity works, at least like the stablecoin. As it showed, like there are actually token that's meant to go up in price doesn't really like to go up in price. We'll see if loan does the same. I'm not sure if liquidity had 50 million in funding like liquid loans has. So I think they definitely have the possibility to like do marketing and building around the loan token and make the price go up if they want. But like in the end, we'll just have to wait for mainnet and see how that token actually is performing.
Yes, good point. This guy says liquidity is great as a protocol and product. The token should not moon to be effective. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. If you can use the protocol and you can make loans, that's what it's for, right? I guess it's not really. But then everyone sacrificed for the loan token, but doesn't look like those tokens. You might want to just get out on that first pump.
We'll see. I like important is also to know about liquid loans that they are stablecoin USDL. That's cool for essentially allowing you to get liquidity of your PLS without selling them. But it's not really needed from a stablecoin perspective because you can just bridge in any stablecoin from ETH, like USDC or even DAI. So both like fiat and crypto-backed stables. You can just bridge them in and use them on Pulsechain. So we already have stables like natively first party from Richard Hart with his bridge PulseRamp. So it's not needed from that perspective, but it's good for getting off sell pressure from PLS.
Besides liquid loans, are there any other projects you think are kind of in that upper tier?
Check out Pulsar list.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. I just wanted your opinion. Cool. If anyone wants to ask Victor a question while I have him on, the call lines are open. I don't know about you. I have about, let's see, I'm always late. I'm trying to think how much time I have. Probably like 20 more minutes, 15, 20 more minutes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you have any questions for me?
Like, what are your top projects? Like, what are your personal favorites from the space?
In Pulsechain space or
Yeah, or generally like related to
in
HEX
crypto?
or
So Hex Pulse related?
yeah, or generally in crypto, like whatever you find interesting.
I'm a big XRP guy.
Really?
No. I mean, XRP is what got me into crypto, and I do think XRP will be one of those tokens that'll have longevity. But in terms of making money and hodling, it's kind of been abysmal. But like, a lot of people just shit on XRP because the price performance, but like, they're doing some. I think it'll be one that's around like 5 to 10 years. It basically does what Bitcoin was made to do, and it came out like really. What other projects around that era are still here besides Bitcoin and ETH and Litecoin?
You think that banks are going to start using XRP?
They already are. So in the past year, so XRP, Ripple has a software that all these banks use, but they don't use XRP, right? And so that's like everyone's like, oh, they have all these banks, but no one's using it, right? Which is true, because you got to think these big banks, they have hundreds of lawyers, and their lawyers are not going to advise them to use a speculative crypto asset that has no regulation. But fun fact, in the past year, during all this bullshit FUD lawsuit, they had 800% growth in their ODL, on demand liquidity product, which uses XRP. 800% growth, right? Which is crazy. And that's while all this FUD is going down and stuff. So I think they potentially could maybe in the future, but I mean, I'm not banking on that. No pun intended.
You want to make a bet that HEX outperforms XRP?
Yeah, can I bet on Hex?
No.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, that's why I don't have any XRP and I have Hex, but I used to be big into the altcoins and I was just trying to find like what's the next big altcoin, because I didn't get into crypto to get like a 2x. Crypto's about the crazy gains, right? And you kind of
Yeah.
miss those with the big Bitcoins, Ethereums. And so that's how I found Hex. And then just over time, I just became a Richard Hart maximalist. And pretty much just Hex Pulsechain guy now. But in terms of other projects on Pulsechain, it's pretty much just like free Pulse. And I don't really want to put any money into any of those projects when I could put them into Hex and Pulsechain, because I just don't think people are going to outperform Richard Hart. And a lot of people throw money at these other projects. And if you have capital to just throw money at everything and support the community, go for it. But a lot of these people doing it don't. And I just think it's impatience. People are tired of waiting. They're just looking for the next, juicer, the next gain, and they're just pissing away their money.
Yeah. Like for many people, especially like whales or people who made it or made a lot of money wherever, for example, in the space, they aren't worried about the gains anymore. They're worried about diversification. So I think that a lot of money from these altcoins or Pulse-related altcoins is coming from all of the Hex gains, right? So people made a lot of money with Hex and they want to keep that money. They don't really have to worry about making more money anymore, or at least less. So they're just diversifying part of the Hex gains into altcoins. It's my personal guess.
Yeah, and I get that too. A lot of people that made a lot of money in Hex didn't have money before that, and so they might not operate in ways where someone who's like a decamillionaire from traditional finance typically would, right? Just kind of throw your magic internet money that you've never cashed out at whatever. But I think more of the people are just regular investors. I don't think it's a lot of these whales. Because if you made a lot of money in Hex and you're intelligent, a lot of these projects, I mean, I look at them and I just see bullshit. But can't tell people where to put their money, Got to do your own research, make your own decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Like it's just important that you're like actually doing the due diligence and like the actual research. You put the time into it before you invest into anything. Just not blow all of your money into some random dog coin that sounds funny or says that it'll go up in price. Like just be responsible with the money. Please do your research. I know it's hard. It's harder than just buying the next Shiba Inu or whatever. But yeah, it's important that you do the research before you invest.
so I know you've done Free Pulse, E30. What are all the Pulsechain projects you've been a part of?
Oh god, I made a lot. So Freepulse is probably the most known. Then Pulse33.com, PulseHotlist.com, PRC20s.com, CustomX.com, Bitswax.com. And like, yeah, I mean, you can read my CV, like the website, all on there.
Oh yeah, good point. If you guys want to see what he's worked on, the link's in the chat. Are you bullish on? Question kind of turn it back at you. Do you have any projects not Hex Pulsechain related that you're kind of bullish on?
No.
Yep, just like me. It's hard once you're a Hexakin to just get into other things.
Yeah, I mean, Hex is just, it goes up in price so fast. It's insane. Like, it beats everything else. You can't really compete. Like, the only idea behind competing is diversification, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, except for the past year, anyone who bought Hex the past year is selling the bottom right now. All the people
I
I
mean,
onboarded at 30 cents, saying my apologies to them and stuff now, but I think time will fix all that.
yeah, I mean, dips are in the game. Check the price chart, zoom out, and click the lock button. Then you see where we're at. And of course, like, we could still go lower. Don't ever like margin trade or margin long or put all of your money at once into a single asset or even asset class for that matter. Like even Hex, it could go lower. Who knows? It can always go lower. But yeah, just dollar cost average, be responsible, and all of that stuff.
I mean, I kind of say the opposite sometimes. Like crypto, these games won't be like this forever. And if you're a young person with no wife, kids like me, like I throw all my money into it because where else am I going to get? I mean, it's like your risk profile. How much risk do you want to take? Are you trying to speed run your finances and maybe get wrecked, but potentially 100x your money? Like, where are you going to 10x your money in regular finance, right? Unless you're
Yeah,
just
but
angeling.
if you have the potential for 100x, just put like half of your money into it. Because like in the worst case, you won't get completely wrecked, you still have half your money. And like if that 100x still works out, then you still have a 50x and you'll be happy. So like I wouldn't put all of my money into a single thing, even if I'm young and have nothing to lose.
Yeah, well, maybe you're smart money and I'm dumb money. I sell to
I
you.
don't know. I guess like your investment style is just more riskier than mine. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
that's probably it. But that's what life's about. Money can be made, money can be lost, but if you work hard and you're smart, like money will come to you, you know? But people don't really
Yeah.
like to work.
And I mean, I like to invest in stuff that I can make better myself. So, for example, like Pulsechain, I sacrificed a lot for PLS, and like I basically worked the last year just to make the space better
How
in every
much did
way I
you
can.
sack? I'm just
A
kidding.
lot.
I'm just kidding.
Enough to fund Freepulse for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't even including Felix's packs.
And you guys will use some of the gambling revenue to like keep the longevity there. Isn't that the plan?
Yeah, but like also we have a token, FP. You can join the sacrifice pool right now and no expectations, of course. But who knows, maybe a third of all of the revenue from the mini games goes towards a buy and burn program for FP. Who knows? Could be. But of course, also funding the faucet, funding operating costs, funding development costs, funding server costs. Like currently we're paying for all of this out of our own pockets, and that's fine. And like we can continue running this for years without any problem. But yeah, like if we grow the user base and have hundreds of thousands or millions of users who free claim PLS every hour, run the numbers yourself, you'll see that if there isn't any revenue source, this has to end somewhere. And like the goal is just to keep up Freepulse forever.
Yeah, I don't want it to
Maybe it's
end.
possible. We'll see.
Best way to onboard.
Yeah. But like it's at least gonna stay up for like a few years. Like I would be surprised if we couldn't manage that.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Well, hey, I gotta get going here. Let's do this again soon, and hopefully Pulsechain comes out in these next month or two. Where's the drama? Nothing huge, but just watch the beginning of the stream. We're kind of wrapping it up now.
Yep.
Thanks for joining me. Where can they find you at?
You can DM me on Telegram, t.me/vbohu, which is a sucky handle, but it is what it is. Or just shoot a DM on Twitter at freepulse.io, at pulsehotlist. Like you can find me. And like, of course, thanks for having me. It's been fun. Let's do this again.
For sure,
And
man.
yeah,
All right, man.
see
Well,
you
you have
soon.
a good evening. Yeah. Take care.
You too.
All right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I uploaded a video like 2 hours ago, so go watch that other video. Thanks for watching this. Sorry I haven't been super active. I had to go do some things.